evening and welcome to our devotion as we read through the Bible in a year in the 1 Year Bible. And today we are on June 27th and we'll look at another proverb. And our proverb is Proverbs 18 verse 1, and it is, "Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment." Literally, the first part of that verse says, a person who separates himself for a desire. What that means is he who separates himself from others for the sake of his own desire. The verb for separating oneself from others is the same as is used in Judges 4:11 for when Heber the Kenite separated himself from the Kenites. That means he went away from his clan to live far away, and he and his wife Jael were on their own. But God was able to use this less than ideal situation for good. When Barak, under the leadership of Deborah for Israel, routed Sisera's Canaanite army that Sisera commanded, Sisera fled. He came to Jael's tent since he was their friend, and she covered him in a blanket, gave him some milk, and he fell asleep. Then she was supposed to serve as a lookout, but instead she snuck in while he was sleeping and took a tent peg and hammered it into his temple, killing him. I guess that's one way of defeating your country's enemy in war. After that, Israel had rest from her enemies for 40 years. That's quite an episode from Judges, if you remember when we read through that before. So as we look at the proverb, typically this proverb has been misunderstood. It's not talking about a hermit or someone who's unfriendly or even someone who's shy or something like that. Furthermore, there is a place, and I would argue even a need for solitude in a person's life from time to time. So what is this verse talking about? It's talking about a person who deliberately isolates himself socially, even if he lives among others or is outwardly friendly. In other words, he's in it for himself and nobody else. Whatever he does only serves his own purposes. He seeks his own desire, and he fights against all sound judgment. Now, if we want to have sound judgment, and I believe we do, that requires us to be concerned for the welfare of others. A person with sound judgment follows God's lead, and he stores up wisdom for others to benefit. And he is a shield for the upright, and he watches over the way of his saints. When it comes to sound judgment, it seems to have been a rare thing for as long as I can remember, but wisdom, as portrayed in the Bible, helps us to evaluate and make judgments concerning the world in which we live and the best course of action we should take in our lives. And sound judgments include not just the faculty to make quality decisions, but also the know-how, practically speaking, how to execute those decisions. So, I think that when it comes to having sound judgment, it's important to realize that being a student of God's Word is vitally important, and especially looking at what God's Word says in terms of our relationship with other people. We need to understand our relationship to other people according to God's law, and we also need to be able to understand how it impacts us knowing the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, that we are forgiven, that we have received grace so that we can be gracious towards others too. That goes a long way in helping us make sound judgments. May God be with you and bless you, and I'll look forward to talking with you again real soon.